If I look at an access class, it's got this space to it. It's like a space of no judgment, a space where you're not wrong no matter what you've chosen in your life, no matter what you wanted to choose and haven't been able to choose and all that sort of stuff. And it's a space where truly you realize anything is possible. Well, that's a space I like to call, you ready? Wait for it. Being you. That is actually you, whether you currently realize it or not. When you're truly being you, you have a sense of lightness. You have a sense of everything being possible. And you function differently in the world. What if you truly being you are the gift, the change, and the possibility this world requires? If you have had, like in the last few days, a sense of immense weirdness in your world, and you think you're the only one, and what you want to do is you want to crawl in a hole and go to sleep. If you've been weirder than shit in the last few days and you don't know what to do about it, and you're like, what the heck is going on? Let me give you a couple awarenesses. For those of you who've been in an Access Consciousness class, you know that we do this thing where it's like in that class, it truly is the space of a reality beyond this reality, a reality of possibilities. And when you're being that space, it's just the space that you are. So it truly is the space of being you. But what happens in that space is you start to perceive possibilities. You start to perceive awarenesses where it's like, whoa. And then, you go to your life again. Please never go back. Don't go back to your life. But you go to your life again, and all of a sudden it seems like, wait a minute, there were all these possibilities. What happened? Well, what you want to do is you want to tap into that energy. So whatever it is that you have done, whether it's an access class or anything else, whatever it is that you have done, think about anything that brings you a sense of lightness. And what you want to do is you want to keep that with you as much of your day, as much of your life as you possibly can. If I look at an access class, it's got this space to it. It's like a space of no judgment, a space where you're not wrong no matter what you've chosen in your life, no matter what you wanted to choose and haven't been able to choose and all that sort of stuff. And it's a space where truly you realize anything is possible. Well, that's a space I like to call, you ready? Wait for it. Being you. That is actually you, whether you currently realize it or not. So that is actually the space of you being you. When you're truly being you, you have a sense of lightness. You have a sense of everything being possible. And you function differently in the world. Now, that sounds so, I don't know, almost like, yeah, blah, you function differently in the world, blah. But this is where the magic is, functioning differently in the world, where you wake up and you have a sense of excitement about life. You actually start to have a sense of lightness. This thing about this lightness is, it's just so us. It's one of the things that we learn to give up in this world. And what if you didn't? So everything you've done to give you up in favor of somebody else's judgment, in favor of the idea that somebody else is right and you're wrong, in favor of the ideas of this reality that you can't be that different, you can't stand out, you can't be that happy, and just run that every day. Because whether you know it or not, so I was talking about the space that occurs in an access class, and it truly is a sense of space. And it's a sense of nurturing and kindness and caring. And we all know there are certain places that exist like that on the planet, like out in nature, which is one of the reasons I wanted to come outside. So you can see my backyard, where there's just so much nature around. It's just so beautiful. And get to bask in that for a little bit. So there are these spaces of lightness, and yet with the people on the planet, there seems to be so little. And so what happens is the reality in which we live, all this stuff around us it tells you have to be linear. It tells you can't be magical. It tells you can't really have space. And these are all lies, my friends. So how many lies have you bought? And how many lies are you using to create the limited reality you are currently choosing? If you felt really strange in the last several days, realize that part of what's happening is there is a reality of possibilities opening up for you that you haven't yet acknowledged or chosen. Two aspects of this, okay? Number one is when you make a choice for consciousness, and it's not just one choice you make, believe me, it's sort of an ongoing series of choices. But in your world, when you go, you know what is actually valuable to me is consciousness and bringing more of that to the planet. And I'm here, I'm part of this, I will contribute to it, I will receive from it. And, it's when you make that choice, and only when you do such a thing, okay? But when you do, you start to become part of this forward movement of consciousness in the world. And I do mean in the world. But realize though, we talk about being you changing the world. Realize that the world that you change, and the world that we can directly affect, is this world around us. If I had two hands, I would show you there'd be another hand on the other side. It would look kind of like this hand, but not exactly the same as this hand, because that would be kind of cool, kind of interesting. But anyway, like that, okay? So the world around you is the world that you first change. The reason I'm bringing this up is because it can be a very useful distinction, because what happens is when we talk about changing the world, people go, oh, we're changing the world, and it's like, oh, and it's huge, and it's a big planet, and I'm a little person, and all that. No, what we're talking about is you changing the world around you, the world that exists around you, the people that you have influence in, the things that you affect. That's where the change starts. That's where it actually occurs and where you notice it. And with enough of us choosing that, the world at large begins to change. Okay, so what choices are you making right now to change the world around you that you haven't acknowledged? Because what happens is when we do something like that, if we don't acknowledge what we're actually doing, if we don't acknowledge that we're actually creating this, whether we've actually made this choice, what starts to happen is the world around us changes by our choice. But it's kind of like you make a choice and you go, blah, 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 blah. What happened? I forgot making that choice. So the world starts changing based on that choice, because the world changes based on your choice. That's actually how it all works, if you haven't heard that by now or don't know that by now. So the world starts changing, but you're going over here thinking this is where the world, here, there, right there, right there. You're going that way. That's thinking that's where the world is still going. But because of your choice, it's actually veering off into a greater possibility for future. But as it veers off more, veers off more as it goes that way more. And actually, let's say over there is greater, right? As it actually starts to veer off from where you decided you were going, what happens is you start to feel weirder and weirder and weirder. And you're like, what the fuck is happening? Oh my goodness. What we tend to do is we want to withdraw into our cave so we can have some time to figure it out. So if you felt really weird and have wanted to sleep a lot in the past few days, guess what? You're part of consciousness. You're welcome. But really, what's actually happening is a reality of possibilities is being birthed that is nothing like what we've ever been able to create before. And so it's happening. You're choosing it. You're helping create it, but you won't acknowledge it. So what you want to do is you want to acknowledge the different choice that you've made, but also acknowledge that it is actually starting to actualize. What is actualization? Actualization is where it starts to show up. So what choices have you made for tremendous change that you're not acknowledging? One of the things that I've noticed about that wanting to go into your cave is it's when your awareness opens up dramatically, but you don't yet know what you're aware of. Two things that can really be helpful is when that occurs, when that shift starts occurring, and literally this is based on your choice to create something greater, please realize it never feels the way you think it's going to. It always feels different. If you talk to Simone Millicis, our worldwide coordinator, who also does COPs around the world now and Joy Business classes, and just a phenomenal creator who's gone through massive change herself and does over and over and over again many times. One of the things that I said to her several years ago is I said, sweetie, because she was like, what's going on? What's wrong? And I was like, number one, is this the change you've been asking for showing up in a totally different way than you thought it would and decided it would? And she went, yes. And I said to her, look, it never looks the way you think it's going to. And it never shows up the way you think it's going to. And so if you recognize that, then you start to go, okay, wait a minute, maybe I'm not wrong. Because you know the great philosophical question, if a tree falls in the forest and no one is around, is the humanoid still wrong? The answer, of course, is yes, okay? So it never looks the way you think it's going to. One thing that can help, especially right now, or in any time of massive change where you don't understand what's going on, let me tell you what's going on. Your definitions that you've been holding on to so tightly that are actually limiting you, because remember, definition by definition alone is a limitation. Those that you've been holding on to so tightly that are limiting you, they're going away, and you don't know how to connect to reality in the same way anymore. And there's a greater reality getting created at the exact same time, which creates double trouble for you, because your old reality that you had defined, like all the little roots of definition are being pulled out of the concrete called your reality, and you don't yet know what the new reality is. And so you're like, sort of stuck between two worlds. So what awareness are you refusing with the lack of creation and joy you are choosing? What awareness are you refusing with the lack of creation and lack of joy you are choosing? One more time. So what awareness are you refusing with the lack of creation and lack of joy you are choosing? So I wanted to give you these tools, and some of these are some simple reminders if you've been in an Access class, but really I wanted to give you this because this time of massive change that we're in right now, it's only going to get greater. It's only actually going to get a lot more fun. And that's where it's really helpful to have these Access consciousness tools to make it easier, to make it more fun. And because guess what, guys? Guess what we're actually stepping into creation. We're actually stepping into the space where our choice creates. This is friggin' awesome. And it can feel so friggin' uncomfortable. Let me tell you from personal experience, been doing this a while and continuously opening these doors that nobody else has ever seen before. And I walk through it, I'm like, I'm all alone. Help, where is everybody? And all I hear is crickets, and I see tumbleweeds roll by and I'm like, help. So what awareness are you refusing with the lack of creation and lack of joy you are choosing? The way that works is you have this immense level of awareness. So you want to ask for your allowance to exceed your awareness, okay? So you have this immense level of awareness and you don't know what to do with it and you don't know what's going on and it feels so weird as all the definitions are going away. So you want to ask for your allowance to exceed your awareness and then run this process, because what you're trying to do by caving in is get rid of that awareness. And we all have the ways in which we do it. So you could say, what awareness am I refusing with the overeating I am choosing, with the not working out, with the calling, people I don't like I am choosing, whatever it is for you. So one more time, what awareness are you refusing with the lack of creation and the lack of joy you are choosing? Just so grateful for all of you being in the world. Please realize, number one, you're not alone. And number two, we're all in this thing and on this planet together. Let us endeavor to have each other's backs. Let us endeavor to be the people that we would like to see being in this reality. And let us be it. Let's no longer let this reality get us down. The purpose of Access is not to fight this reality. The purpose of Access is not to resist this reality. The purpose of the Access is for you to be able to create yours no matter what this reality chooses. So what if you truly being you are the gift, the change, and the possibility this world requires? You are, and I am so, so grateful you're in the world.